Hi everyone and welcome back. Welcome to my YouTube channel. And in coming videos, I will talk about GraphQL a little bit more. So on the screen, you can see I have covered a lot of content on the GraphQL, like what is GraphQL, GraphQL versus REST. Then we talked about Apollo GraphQL server, and we wrote an application where we actually create a full stack clone application with the React and the GraphQL. We were using sequelize, and then what I did is I covered another library for writing the GraphQL APIs, which is Yoga GraphQL. So earlier we used the Apollo server, Apollo GraphQL server, and then I used Yoga GraphQL, and it also like it's just another library which is helping us to build the GraphQL APIs. And I used MongoDB here. So you might have seen, okay, there are different kind of application where some application is using typeorm, MongoDB, Postgres with the different ORMs. So there is a lot of possible combinations now exist. Either you write a REST APIs or either you write a GraphQL APIs, because there are tons of libraries are available to do a simple thing. So for that I have drawn this diagram. Okay, what all possible combinations are there, what all things we can cover. Okay, so I have already covered Apollo GraphQL server, like how to define the type, schema, resolvers and the queries, mutations, all those things. Similarly, I have created videos in the same playlist. You can see here the bottom videos are for Yoga GraphQL, and we have covered the basic fundamentals, how to create queries, how to write mutations, resolvers and all those things. Now the important aspect is how should we do this in the Express and how should we do it in the nestjs. Most of my examples were on the Express earlier for the GraphQL. Okay, Apollo GraphQL server with the Express, Yoga GraphQL library with Express to write a GraphQL APIs. Now we can also explore different options. You can write a nestjs middleware which is like a GraphQL middleware, okay, which is talking to the multiple REST APIs. Or you can create a standalone GraphQL server using nestjs. Nestjs indirectly uses the Apollo Federation, Apollo GraphQL server library to expose the queries and mutation. So, but obviously the syntax is different, the way of writing is different from the Express. So we will look into this, like how we can create a GraphQL server with the help of nestjs, and maybe like some kind of a API gateway with the help of nestjs using GraphQL. Okay, so the three building blocks for any GraphQL server is they expose query, mutation and subscription. And APIs are all about storing the data. Either, so there are two options: either you create GraphQL as a middleware, so it will talk to the REST APIs, right? This is GraphQL APIs again talking to some external endpoint or existing REST APIs. Or there is another option is, okay, you have a GraphQL server, and in the same server you have written some implementation using Prisma, typeorm, Knex, sequelize or Mongoose to read and write in the database. So what all possible combinations are there here? You write Yoga GraphQL with the Express and use typeorm, Yoga GraphQL Express with the Prisma, Yoga GraphQL Express with the sequelize or Mongoose. Or you use nestjs, expose query and mutation using Apollo GraphQL server, because nestjs GraphQL implementation is on top of Apollo. And then you can use typeorm, Prisma, sequelize, Mongoose, all these interface to read and write to the database. So as I explained, either you write a GraphQL server to talk to the REST APIs, or you write a GraphQL server to stitch the schemas coming from the multiple endpoints, multiple other GraphQL endpoints. So most of my previous examples were, okay, you write your GraphQL server, use Express and pick one of these, either Mongoose to talk to the MongoDB, sequelize to talk to MySQL, Postgres or any RDBMS. Okay, now these are the possible combinations you can see anywhere. Okay, writing the Yoga GraphQL server and using the Prisma and using Express. But here we will change the pattern a little bit. On the Express we have already seen a lot of examples, and here I have already put this in the GitHub. you can see the possible combinations. Express GraphQL Apollo, right? Apollo GraphQL server, then Express GraphQL Apollo with Knex, maybe with the Postgres and MySQL, Apollo GraphQL with the Mongo, Apollo GraphQL with the sequelize, Apollo GraphQL with the typeorm. Then nestjs, right? Nestjs with the Prisma, nestjs with the nestjs GraphQL with the typeorm, nestjs GraphQL with the MongoDB, nestjs GraphQL with the Prisma and typeorm. All these possible combinations you can use to build your APIs from the scratch. Now your GraphQL, we have already seen this with the MongoDB. We can check the Prisma, okay? When it's the same example, I'm just changing the technology stack, okay? Somewhere I'm using Mongo container, okay? I changed it to the Postgres container and using Prisma, right? So here we are using nestjs and here we are using pure express because nestjs is built on top of Apollo. Okay, now what we are going to do in on top of this playlist talks about, okay, there are 63 videos, talks about what is GraphQL and how to write query mutations, how to deal with the data using sequelize, and here we are talking about MongoDB. Now on top of that, what we will do is we will take a simple example where you can talk about Prisma, Yoga GraphQL with Prisma, and then we will talk about nestjs, how to write GraphQL server with the nestjs, and nestjs with the Postgres using typeorm, nestjs with the another database, maybe with the sequelize, and here we are going to write uh, GraphQL APIs only, and we will also see how we can use GraphQL as a middleware so that this can talk to other REST endpoints being exposed from the other REST APIs. Okay, so this is a summary. I mean, I will be adding this at the end of this playlist, and I already have a separate playlist where I will be adding the videos, but if you are following this playlist you will get everything about GraphQL in this. Okay, thanks everyone, thanks for watching and stay tuned. I will be posting more videos on this channel.